what anxiety really is a lot of excess energy in the body. And if it's not moved through the body, it starts to amplify and it starts to get creative into the mental and the emotional side. And us being human with an ego, you can just imagine the stories we tell ourselves that aren't even true. So many of us, myself included, and I have to catch myself. So this is constant work until we leave our earth suit. It's not like an awakening is a one-time thing. We're constantly having to remind ourselves that we are not the thought, we are not the body, but we're having the thought and we have a body, or we're not the feeling, but we're having the feeling.
Hey, self-care warriors, welcome back to Hold Purse. I'm your host, Ro, and this is your sacred space for self-care, self-love, and the kind of conversations that help you return to yourself and live your best life from the inside out. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, you already know how I roll, because this is a place where we slow down, tell the truth, and choose ourselves a little more deeply. Before we get into today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever been so deep in your head that you couldn't hear yourself clearly anymore? Overthinking, second guessing, caring too much, and still trying to hold it all together? If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. Today, I'm talking with Terrie Huberman, intuition specialist, author, emotional mastery expert. And in this conversation, we talk about overthinking, anxiety, intuition, and how women can begin to come back to calm, clarity, and self-trust. And if this conversation speaks to you, I want you to keep in mind the Awakening Return to Self Day Retreat taking place this weekend, April 25th, on your heart. Terrie will be joining and offering a pranic healing session. And after hearing her today, you'll understand just how powerful that can be. I always like to start my episodes with a journal prompt to help you as you listen to the episode. So here's your prompt. Where in my life am I overthinking and what my spirit may already know? Let me repeat. Where in my life am I overthinking and what does my spirit already know? All right, hold my purse. Let's get into it.
Hi, Terrie. Welcome to Hold
Hello.
My Purse. I am so excited to have this conversation with you. How you doing today?
Doing great, and I'm grateful to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, and you were so gracious. I had like a tooth problem on Friday. We were supposed to record, and she was like, "Girl,
Take your
you took."
time.
Yes, so I appreciate that flexibility, but definitely wanted to jump right in because you have so much knowledge and wisdom that I'm sure everyone will want to, hear from you. I'm curious, and I always ask people that come on the show that's in your space of spiritual healing, what brought you to this work? Because I always feel like there's a catalyst in someone that
Yeah.
brings them to that work. For you, what was that?
There's so much. I don't even know where to begin. It was probably my first paranormal experience.
Ooh,
And I think I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. I can't remember the age, but I remember, or maybe it was 5, 6, 7, again, 3 to
hmm,
7 years. I was a kiddo.
okay.
And one of the experiences that I remember was that I felt these, my covers of the bed being tugged. And I thought that was really strange. And I sat up, and back in the day, I had mirror, they were mirror closet doors.
Okay.
And when I bolted up because I was scared. I'm a little kid. I feel something tugging at my covers. I
Yeah.
bolt and I sit up, and I saw that I had the head of a wolf. Like the reflection, even though it was dark, I so I think I'm going crazy. And I immediately throw myself down and pull the covers over my head. And it's just something that I never forgot about. And it kind of scared me.
Mhm.
But it was something that never left me. And I was always really curious about it. Now, I come from a family that had like my mom, it's on my mom's side of the family where they're intuitives and they're, um, into the esoterics.
Wow.
M-
That
my
must have been a fun childhood.
Well, it was interesting because I was
Yeah.
raised in it. So a lot of
Yeah.
people are not raised in it, or they're raised like
Right.
against it. So I was
Okay.
raised with it. So I'm Jewish, so there's the
Okay.
Kabbalistic part of it.
Mhm.
And my mom is Cuban, so there was Santeria in
Okay.
Cuba. So I was always enmeshed and involved in some sort of esoteric or metaphysical thinking, and
Mm.
just things like I remember it's interesting. I remember my grandmother on my father's side, she would leave out a cup of water for spirits. And I was like, I don't understand. I was a kid. I didn't understand any of that. But to me, I'm thinking, okay, that's normal. Spirits come around. And so as I got older and I was playing around more with like this fun, cool stuff, I wasn't as afraid of that wolf experience. So I kind of grew out of that. And I just remember as a kid doing really weird things with classmates. I remember one time we were trying to do telekinesis in the bathroom at recess. It
My
was
gosh.
just weird stuff. Like I was that kid, okay?
Wow. Man, I
Yeah.
wish I'd had you as a friend when I was young.
Oh, light as a
Man.
feather, stiff as a board. You know what all kids do, but
Right,
I
right.
believed all this stuff. And you don't call Bloody Mary when you're, looking in the mirror, even though it's a sleepover and you're having fun. You don't call in Bloody Mary.
Right.
So there was just always something,
Okay.
always. So for me, it's just all it was just a part of who I am and who I was.
Got you. So, from a work perspective, did you just fall into like this space for work because of your upbringing in it? Did you ever do anything different?
Yeah, I did not seek this out, per
Okay.
se. I was about 19 years old and I started to play with tarot cards. I had gone, like my mom and I would go to psychics all the time, but I had never done anything myself. So I started to play around with it and I would give readings to people. And at some point, I think I was in my mid 20s, people would give me like a little bit of money here and there, but I wasn't doing it as a career per se. I went to university. I graduated with a degree in media arts and communication. So I actually ended up in advertising.
Oh, that's where I'm at.
So that's where I was. I also, at some point, was in medical billing because I kind of
Wow. Okay.
bounced all over the place. And then my most recent day job, I was let go in 2017, and it was in digital media. And I had joined a paranormal investigation team, and so I was going ghost hunting and all of that stuff while I was at this job. So I was there for maybe, I think, close to 5 years. And I was known, I finally owned my gifts and my talents. I went to like a boot camp style school where I had to get certified. I had to get
Mhm.
validated and tested as ethical and as authentic for a psychic and a medium. I had British training, not American training. So I
Mm.
actually had formal training and all that stuff, and I needed to practice. So I would practice at work, and they thought I was like kooky, but they were having fun and I was having fun, and I was doing psychic and mediumship work at that time. And I got let go in 2017, and then I was like, okay, spirit, God, if this is what you want me to do, I guess I'm being forced into it, because I was kind of doing it part time at that point. And then I just started to do it full time. And that's how I got into this work. So I didn't
Got you.
start off doing this. And then it's evolved. Like a lot of psychics and a lot of mediums have actually grown and developed into intuitive healing skills. Some are going into medical intuition and helping the body physically.
Mm,
So most people will start out one way, and if they stick to and they become more spiritual and they really start to connect with God and the universe, they have tendencies to evolve into something and expand into something greater to
mm.
help other people. So then it's like you're going into service versus just telling somebody their past, present, future.
So talk to me about what your programs are, what you teach, and your modalities.
Yeah.
Tell me about all the things that you do, because I was on your website. I was like, man, she could do a lot, and
I've
we're
done
gonna
a
get into
lot.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have done a lot. I've learned a lot. I have a Sagittarius rising, so I'm always like, learn, 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 and develop. And in the evolution process of not just my soul, but my human known as Terrie, I just come across different ways of doing things. And I myself, when I wanted to get more into the entrepreneurship business side of things, I started a business coaching program and it really led me astray. And
Mm,
I know that that's awful, and it was such a terrible experience, and it was really humiliating and embarrassing to me, humbling too, because here I am really intuitive, right? I should be making all the right decisions for myself, all the best decisions. And it was a really, I ended up spending like $45,000 on it. It was a hot mess. It was a real hot mess, but I did learn more about myself and I got to know myself better. So there was a silver lining. And the work was based on as you build your business, you heal your trauma. Yeah, because all of us, as we're trying to grow and develop and make our lives better, we come across bumps along the way. And a lot of it is our childhood programming. I personally have what is it called? CPTSD, childhood. I'm not saying the right. I forgot what it's called, and I'm blanking out right now. But it's the childhood trauma.
okay.
I come from a Holocaust surviving family, so there's a lot of stuff that I still, even at 51 years old, am dealing with. But I went through like a trauma therapy, and I learned a bunch of modalities. I experienced it myself. Through the experience, I learned it, and then I said, "Oh, I want to also get certificated in it or whatnot."
Hmm.
So I really liked the trauma angle because it was so deep seated and rooted in the human experience for this lifetime. And whenever we heal anything right now, we're healing the past. So it's like we could be healing our from ancestor issues, ancestral DNA. We can do that right now in the now moment. So I went through so much training. I think the most influential for me was Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
I
Such a
did
fan.
I highly recommend attending the week long,
Okay.
because you are traveling to other dimensions. Basically, it's like you get out of your humanity and you can access that part of you that knows everything and that you can trust. And then when you come back, you have all more knowledge and all more wisdom, and then you can redirect the human. There's just so much. I'm not even giving it any justice when I talk about it. And the other very influential teacher for me was Master Choa Kok Sui. So he's the father of Arhatic yoga, which is a more modern way of uniting the soul and the human. And it's through various teachings, Christianity teachings, Jewish teachings, Buddhist teachings, Sufi teachings, Rosicrucian teachings. And because every religion has a spiritual and mystical
Mhm.
aspect to it, even if they don't say it out loud.
Yeah, they're all saying the same thing pretty
And
much.
everybody's saying the
It's
same
the
thing.
creator, the light.
But yeah.
I went to a Kabbalah, David Gilliam. I'm a huge
Hmm.
fan. I went to his event and he always talk about the light of the creator. So
Yeah.
so it depends, you
Yeah,
know what.
and we all hear things and
Mhm.
resonate with different teachers. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. They're all saying the same thing, loving kindness and peace and
Yes.
generosity. That's really the bottom line of
Mhm.
everything, you know. So I just had the most mystical experiences with these modalities and these different ways of getting to the same message that all
Mhm.
other religions are saying. So between, you know, how I was raised, my background, what I personally experienced, the courses and the certifications that I've earned, I just came to sort of my own conclusion, which is really the best way to go about any of this. You don't follow anybody else. Like there are teachers so you can learn, but really, yeah, for guide. I mean, you need guidance. You need guidance, but you should always be working from you, your own soul, and God. You know, and I like science, so I'm a woo girl, but I'm also a science girl.
Talk to me
Uh,
about that.
well, you know, it's funny because somebody described me as the babe, like if Gabrielle Bernstein and Mel Robbins had a baby, that would be me. You know,
Okay, I love that.
very practical, very
Yes.
pragmatic, but then
Mhm.
also with woo. And when I learned all about heart coherence, which is the energy of the heart, has the ability to neutralize lower vibrational frequencies. My mind was blown because so often we as humans think and feel that if we're feeling bad, down, or negative, we have to be feeling good and happy and joyful. But there's a really big gap between where
Yeah.
you are and where you want to be. And so, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to get to joy? Wouldn't it be nice if you could go from like, to meh, because meh feels so much better. And then closing the gap from meh to wee is a lot faster and it's a lot easier. And just as somebody who has had a lot of anxiety and finally understood when I learned how energy works, I understood that what anxiety really is a lot of excess energy in the body.
Mm.
And if it's not moved through the body, it starts to amplify and it starts to get creative into the mental and the emotional side. And so and us being human with an ego, you can just imagine the stories we tell ourselves that aren't even true.
Yes.
This is not true. So many of us, myself included, and I have to catch myself. So this is constant work until we leave our earth suit. It's not like
Mhm.
an awakening is a one-time thing.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
constantly having to remind ourselves that we are not the thought, we are not the body, but we're
Mhm.
having the thought and we have a body, or we're not the feeling, but we're having the feeling.
Mhm.
That's very Buddhist.
Yeah, I love that. I've been thinking a lot about because I'm an overthinker. And then my mind, I swear at night is
Hmm.
like a squirrel.
Yeah.
Like a million things. And just recently, especially after coming back from the David Gilliam event, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to entertain that thought. That is not me. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Like I'm really suppressing and pushing those thoughts away. But In looking at your website, you talk a lot about overthinking.
Hmm.
How do you help? Well, two parts. One, what do you think women are carrying? And two, how can women stop overthinking? Because I think we do that a lot just
Hmm.
because we have so much that we have to deal with.
Yeah. So, what we're carrying, I believe, is our own stories as well as the responsibilities of other people. Because that's what we're taught what a woman is. Now, if we go into this energetically, feminine energy is compassionate and it's nurturing and it is taking care of other people. So it's not like we can like it's so inbred in us physically with a woman body, and then the soul, right? So the soul also has its own energies and it's also its own stories that it needs the human, because it's not tangible and you need something tangible in order for the soul to experience something so that it can grow. So that's why we're made in the image of God, right? Because God is not tangible. And in order for God to have an experience, it needs a human.
Mm,
So that's why, you've heard of like the God particle,
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So God actually needs us. And this sounds weird, but uses us to have an experience. That's
Mm,
how we're always co creating with God. So the human part of us women don't know, and we're not taught how to manage or balance all of the responsibilities of others and their emotional and mental,
mhm.
sides as well as ours. So it turns into a really, really big mishmash.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly being one step ahead. So that's what I think we're carrying.
I would agree with you. Like every woman I know that's in my circle, just overwhelmed, exhausted just from life. And you're absolutely right. It's the stories that we tell ourselves. Like I
Yeah.
remember growing up, like my mom was a workaholic, like to the bone. She would iron everybody's clothes.
Wow.
She worked in a factory, like and over and like she just and I was like, I can't be that. I was like, I cannot accept that story. I'm gonna have and I didn't know at the time what it meant, but I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not ironing everybody's clothes. Like I started creating some boundaries. I'm like, I'm not carrying that story
Yeah.
into my life and carrying it forward
Yeah.
because I also saw how miserable she was in that
Hmm.
process.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's not to say that it can't be done, but from an energetic perspective, feminine energy is meant to be contained and held
mm.
by masculine energy.
Ooh, tell me about that. Now you
So,
about to go to another level
yeah,
for me.
well,
I
because
love
it's
it.
energy. Now we're having an
Yes.
energy conversation.
Yes.
So, feminine energy, and this can be in any body, right? So, someone can have more like there are masculine energied women and feminine energied men. So we're talking about energy, we're not talking about the physicality of the body. Most modern day women are more masculine in energy because in modern times we are working and we're being, a mom or we're being a wife or whatnot, right? There's a time and a place for masculine and feminine energy. And each human being has both feminine energy and masculine energy. But feminine energy is meant to be contained and held in a safe container so that it could do whatever it wants. Because feminine energy is emotional. It's supposed to go high, low, side, side, up, down. So women are supposed to cry 1 minute and then be really strong the next minute.
So we're supposed to be that.
Yeah, because if we are
God.
emotional,
Yeah.
what emotions are energies in motion.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
energy is always moving,
So by
right?
us suppressing that
Mhm. By us
and not
suppressing
being our
it
true selves,
and not being our
oh,
true selves, we are taking on the role of masculine energy to contain it and therefore not feeling safe.
my gosh.
If you want a super easy metaphor, think of a water bottle. You have the container of the water bottle, and then you have the water. What does the water do? It swishes around. It has no boundaries. It has nothing. If the bottle weren't there, it'd be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The bottle has to give it a container in which it has boundaries. Because when humans have boundaries, they actually feel safer because it gives them clarity. What to do, what not to do. When to do things, when not to do things. So it gives, on some level, it gives purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of modern day women are having a hard time because they are becoming a man.
That's so tragic,
It's hard, right?
but
But
true.
you have to be that way at work, right? We can't
Mm-hmm.
go around crying and being like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
We can't do that at work. No, we've got to close the deal, bring the money in, and that's okay. It's appropriate to be like that at work. But when we take that into relationship, for example, or in courting or dating, and we want somebody to make us feel safe and we want to feel cherished and loved and
Mm-hmm.
special, but we're acting more masculine and we're encountering a masculine energy, two masculine energies, they're going to headbutt.
So is the answer to show up as your true feminine self?
Mhm. It's
Okay.
called authenticity.
Yeah. But we don't do that.
We're
Like,
well, we don't do that because we're not taught how to do that.
yeah.
I know personally as a kid, I was very sensitive. So I was a crybaby. And
Mm-hmm.
what did my parents say? Stop crying. Don't worry about it. You never tell somebody who's worrying about something, don't worry about that.
Exactly.
You got to give them the information so that
Mm-hmm.
they stop worrying. So information is like medication, which brings me and loops me back to the overthinking
Mm.
because of all the stories we create. But we also, as women, are not taught to ask questions to get that information because we don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want to, step on anybody's toes. But if we don't get that information, our nervous system can't calm down and relax. So it's this vicious cycle.
It is. So we got the energy, you got your
The
heart.
soul talk, the
How's your soul?
heart, all of this. So I created what's called the heart hug method, which is when I'm working with my clients. The majority of the time, we use heart coherence, which is when you focus your attention on the heart, you amplify, you get the electricity of the heart going. And the heart is the largest electromagnetic field of the body. It can actually extend up to 6 feet past your body. So people will
Mm-hmm.
feel you
Mm-hmm.
before they see you or hear you turning around the corner. They'll just like feel something because your heart is big. That's when it's such a big heart.
How does that work though? Like it's because I've heard that a lot,
Mhm.
and I totally believe it, but it feels like it's very woo woo.
BS. Yeah, it feels like woo woo. Well, what they've done is they've done a lot of work with neuroscience. So, what happens is what they found is wherever you place your attention or your focus, that's where your energy goes. So, if you're thinking about something negative, you're actually feeding your life force to something negative, right? So, that's why You have to pay attention to what you're thinking, which is called consciousness,
Mhm.
and it's awareness. All consciousness is awareness. Like, let's simplify this woo woo
Right.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just what are you thinking about? What are you paying attention to? So, if we are going to open our heart, which all the religions are telling us, open your heart, open your heart. Okay, well, how do we open our heart? We can think about our heart because that's what we're thinking about. So we're placing our attention and our energy on our heart. And we can also, let's see if I can move my camera, we can physically tap on the heart. Because what the physical sensation of the tapping, what's happening is the brain is saying, oh, her hands are on her heart. That's where I should focus. So then what we also do is we breathe into and out of the heart. So we have three ways that we are focusing our energy on the heart. And they've done science and studies and all of that. And that is how you activate the energy of the heart. It's called the Heart Math Institute. So many studies. It's a completely and totally legit place. You can look it up. And so what they found was that when you focus your attention, your breathing, the energy waves of your heart become coherent instead of jaggedy and just kind of like all over the place.
Mm.
And when the energy of your heart is like in a nice smooth pattern, your nervous system is calm and relaxed. You're actually able to now we can get wooey here. You can receive, let's just say, a manifestation, right? So if you're constantly thinking about the fact that you're broke. I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. You're saying I'm broke. Where's all your energy and focus going on? The thought
That
form
mhm.
that I'm broke, and you're actually feeding that, right? But what if you start to recalibrate? And what if you start to rewire your brain and your nervous system to go from grr to meh, and then
Yeah.
eventually wee?
Yeah.
Right? So then that story of I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke might start to evolve into everything's okay and it's always working out for me.
My
Everything's
gosh.
okay and it's always working out for me. I don't know how and I don't know when, but everything's always working for me. And so you start to train your brain and you start to train your body. And so that is a really big tool that I use to help women, especially high performing, high achieving women who are just like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Now, it helps if they're curious about spirituality, because then I can fine tune it more into like, start talking about how the soul comes in and how we're uniting the soul, and we can talk about God and the universe and our angels and all of that. And we bring it in together and it becomes more of a holistic thing. But we're using the body,
Mhm.
right? We're using the body so that we can relax our nervous system so that we can be loving, kind, and generous.
That is something I believe that 100% because I lost my job back in November, and I was like, "You know what? It's a gift. I have certainty I'm gonna get another job." I mean, I had my days where I would
Oh,
get in my
yeah.
head and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is
Oh,
taking so
yeah.
long," and then I
Yeah.
would pull it right back. I'm like,
hmm
"When it's
So,
time."
so when that happens, it's just a different energetic stream that's flowing through you.
Mhm, mhm.
And so you can recognize, go, oh, okay, you recognize it, you acknowledge it, and then you allow it to pass. So
Yes.
you don't love and light it away because that's
Mhm,
a bypass. It's
mhm,
going to stay longer if you don't acknowledge it. So
mhm.
when you acknowledge it and you say, okay, I see you're here. I hear you're here. I definitely feel that you're here. I don't have to like you.
Yes.
because you don't have to like any of this. This is hard, hard stuff. I don't like any of it, and I got to do it over and over and over again.
Mhm, mhm.
But then what happens is as you're learning to navigate the anxiety, the chaos, the drama, you start to sort of detach from it. And what I call a flare up, the flare ups happen less and less and less because your nervous system knows it's going to survive it. It's not
Exactly.
it's like not the end of the world.
Mhm.
But once again, we're not taught this.
Yeah,
So some of us, hello me, have to learn it and
me
then
too.
continue to practice it because we forget it.
Yeah, we do, and I share with people all the time, like, when they're going through something, I'm like, pause, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Have certainty that you're gonna get past this and all is well. Everything works out for me. Like, I say all these things all the time, especially when I'm going through something, because life be lifing.
But always lives. It never stops. It never stops. And that's why, like, my concern, I feel like there's a detrimental aspect of the spiritual community that the awakening is a one-time thing, but it's not. And what we call awakening is just an awareness of who you are and your operating system so
Mhm.
that now you can apply that to the next level. It's like a game, right? So you
Yeah,
level up with each awakening, but you have to have the awakening, which sucks. It sucks because that's how you get to know yourself. And
yeah,
that's how you get to know how are you not only being, but how are you treating other people? And it does happen for us, not to us. And as
mhm.
much as I would love to say, it's a blessing, it's a blessing. It's a blessing in hindsight. When we're going through it, it is
It's not.
painful.
Yeah,
And there's no
exactly.
way around it. I mean, you can bypass it, and a lot of people do bypass it until they can't bypass it anymore because God of the universe is going to make sure you get the message one way or the other. It's just a lot better for you if you pick up the message before the message is being like dealt to you, if that makes any sense. Because usually it comes through crisis.
And which is unfortunate.
It is on that's why I was saying like it would be really nice if you can just pick up the message
Uh-huh.
before the
Yes.
crisis is delivered.
Yes, and know how to and have the tools to get past it and to work
Yeah.
through it. Um,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. How does a woman begin to trust her intuition? Because you talk about that on your website
Yeah.
a lot as well. How do we begin to trust that? Because we all have it.
We all have
So
it.
so many of us just ignore it.
So a lot of the time, like I like to make things fun
Hmm.
because I'm a big kid. So what I'll do is I'll play little games with my clients. And when I'm teaching an intuition course, we'll play these games. So having heightened intuition, all it means is that there's a hyper awareness of your senses in a non physical way.
Mm.
Okay. So our senses are sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, right? So every once in a while, it comes out of nowhere. Well, you'll have this vision of something, right? But it's not like you're seeing it in human physical form, right? Or maybe you'll hear something like your name being called and you looked around and there's nobody there, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe you can feel like someone's looking at you, but you don't know who it. So you're sensing these things on a higher level. So we can play with things like that in the physical 3D world. So a really great game you can play to start training your intuition, especially for if you're a professional woman, if you're high achieving and you work in a building or you have access to elevators, more than one bank of elevators, you stand in the middle and you just you do have to collect yourself, okay, which
Okay.
means you have to do some breathing. Your nervous system should be calm to play this game. And then you start predicting which bank of elevators is going to open up next. And what you'll find is that you're right most of the time.
Really?
Mhm. You can do it when you're driving. Is the car in front of me going to drive through that yellow light? Will it stop at the yellow light? Will it make a right turn? Is it going to signal left? So these are just some games you can play with yourself just to start
Mm-hmm.
revving up your intuition. I mean, there's different levels and
Okay.
there's different ways of doing it, but those are some really fun, easy that I can explain here because there's a difference between intuition and instinct.
Okay.
And
Talk to me.
they're both accurate
Okay.
and they're both right.
Mm-hmm.
They're just accessed differently.
Tell me how.
So instinct typically comes from some sense of fear or discomfort, right? So let's say you're leaving a bar 2 a.m. You just had a great night with your friends and you're walking to your car and there's a shortcut, but all of a sudden you just kind of sense like I don't think I'm going to take that. It just doesn't feel
Feel
safe.
safe. Yes.
It's an instinct because there's a survival aspect to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's accurate because then you find out the next day you read that some homeless guy was murdered in that. I mean, I'm just,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. No, I
being
get your
dramatic.
point.
I'm
Yes.
a Leo, so I'm going to be dramatic.
Okay.
But intuition comes from calm and peace. So there's a
I
preparation
see.
to it to practice it and implement so that when you're calm and maybe you're just typing at work, you're typing up a proposal and then all of a sudden this idea drops in your head. Go to the supermarket and then you go like, I have everything. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
should I go to the supermarket? But then you follow that, what I call a breadcrumb of the soul. You go to
Okay.
the supermarket and you meet the love of your life.
Okay.
You were typing, you were focused, so you had concentration, your body was calm, you were in a safe environment. That's an intuitive hit. So intuition comes from calm. That's why I'm saying when you're practicing these games, you have to collect yourself. You have to be
I see.
calm, you have to be in a safe environment, and that's how you can practice. And as you practice, you get more information.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find that the information, if you were to get some validation, really in order to sort of build it to the point, if you're going to become a professional,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have validation, which is why you're always practicing and you're,
Mm-hmm.
getting the information. But a lot of times you're not going to get validation, you know?
Gotcha.
So you have to
So,
trust that.
so as you were talking about your intuition, I was thinking in dating.
Mhm.
A lot of women don't follow their intuition,
Yes.
and now, based on what you're saying, it's because they can't activate that intuition. Like they have it, but they're not. Is it because they're not activated, especially if they're in a bad relationship?
Well, what's happening is that their heart isn't open enough, which sounds weird, right? Because, like, let's say you're like, I'm ready for a relationship. But what's happening is, from more of a scientific
Hmm.
standpoint, the heart isn't open enough. So the electricity of the heart isn't neutralizing anxiety. When we are anxious or we're overwhelmed, we tend to operate more from the brain.
Right. Okay.
And
Yes.
so that's where discernment comes from the heart.
Mm,
But with the brain, we can talk ourselves out of things. So a red flag might come across, but we think our way out of it. And so
see.
it's not, again, an authentic resonation. So that's why you want to be opening your heart. Now, when we're
Hmm.
saying opening our heart, we're not talking about being a doormat. We're literally talking about activating the energy waves of the heart to neutralize anxiety so that we're making a choice or a decision from calm and peace instead of chaos and drama
Anxiety and
and
fear.
anxiety and
Yes.
fear.
Okay, clock it. I got it
Right.
now.
So this is how it all comes together, cuz like it is in pieces. The way I teach is kind of in pieces, right? But it comes together. When you can open your heart, you start to control your energy. And if you can control your energy, you will make better choices and decisions
Mm,
that will not only affect you, but it'll affect other people in a really positive way too. So you actually become of service as well.
that is amazing. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so at the Awakening, the Return to Self
Yes.
retreat, which I'm so excited, you're going to be doing some pranic healing
Mhm.
along with Devin in the sound
Mhm.
bath.
Yes.
I definitely want to share with people that are planning to attend what that looks like, what to expect, and what you
Yeah.
hope to gain from it.
Yeah. So Devin and I, we do this thing. It's actually I can like as I'm doing it, I get the benefits of it as well. So you're dealing with sound frequency, and you're also, what I'm doing is dealing with the or I should say I'm utilizing the energy of the environment. So I believe we're going to be outside if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's going to be some sun prana, which is the energy and the life force of the sun. And then I don't know, maybe it'll be breezy, we'll be using the wind. And in pranic healing, you use the energies of colors. You use the energies of the celestial planets. So, for example, the sun, the weather, even the environment. And so, I'm going to be using a crystal wand that has it's a it's pointy so that the energy comes in through it and it gets laser focused to each of the people, each of the participants. And what happens is I'm going to be breaking down, dismantling, disintegrating negative, or we can just call it bad feeling energy. And then and then what, so that's like a cleaning and a clearing out. So then they're left with just the basic clean energy that they're dealing with. And then I'm going to be energizing that to amplify it. So remember, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted. It can
Hmm.
only be changed. So I'm going to be using, my crystal is a rose quartz.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love it. I like, because rose quartz is actually a protection, because it's got such gentle energy that any negativity that comes towards it, it just gently falls and breaks down and just kind of like dissipates. So I'll be using that. So you have that, and then you have the sound. There's a lot of energy transmutation. So your cellular DNA, if if you're receiving this, and you should, because you will be calm.
Hmm.
Remember, when you're
Yes.
calm, you can receive. You will be allowing and giving the cells, the cellular DNA of your body, the ability to shift and change into something else. And of course, our intention is to have clean energy so that all of your chakras can work the correct way. When they're working the correct way, then you can start healing. So that's what we're aiming and we're going for.
I love that. I'm so excited for this retreat this
Me
weekend.
too. Me
And
too.
man, you offer so much. Tell people how they can find you, website, social, all the things. And
Sure.
also you have a book if you want to,
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit, and then I'll link it there. Yes, of course.
I have a book called Overcome Overthinking, and
Yes.
it's a great guide because there's steps for you to reclaim your emotional mastery. Because if you can keep your emotions in balance, again, you make the best decisions for yourself and you can really see your path clearly. If you wanted to open up and access your intuition, there are ways to do this in this book as well. This is on Amazon. I'll be bringing some if anybody wants to
Yes.
buy them at the event.
Okay.
So that's that. So you can do that. My website is terriehuberman.com. Very simple, very easy. I actually have a quiz, which is kind of cool. It's what kind of empath are you and how overthinking can affect you as that empath.
Mm,
So I have it. It's not live anywhere, but if people reach out to me, you can do that if you use the contact on my, until I get it published on my website, which I will. You can go ahead and you can take that quiz, which is pretty cool. And then on my website currently, there is a guide for the heart tapping. So you can start accessing the energy of your heart, and that's free. And you can do that on my website now. So that's at least something you can get going with
yes.
for your dating life
I
and
love
everything
that.
else and everything else.
Absolutely. I'm going to link all of that information in
Thank
the
you.
show notes as well as on my website. And so for the people that go to the website to listen, but this has been amazing. I wish we had more time. Maybe we could do this again.
Sure.
But I cannot wait to meet you in person on Saturday.
Same. I want to
And
give you a hug.
yes, we can exchange that
Heart to
positive energy.
heart.
Yes, all day long. But thank you so much. Oh, I have
My
one more
pleasure.
question for you. I
Yeah,
always ask people that come to the show.
sure.
If you had to create a law that everyone had to follow as it relates to self-care and self-love, what would it be and why?
I don't know what I would name the law, but the law would be you have to fill your own cup before you can not drink anybody, but before you can give anybody else. Because I'll give you the best example. On an airplane, if the cabin pressure changes, the flight attendant
Mhm.
will show you that the mask comes down, and you have to put on the mask before your infant child, right? Because what good is a mother who is not living to her
Right.
son or daughter? So the law would be it is not selfish to take care of yourself first so that you can give to others without depleting yourself. I don't know what you would name that, but that would be the law.
I love that law, and
Yeah,
that's the reason why I started this podcast around that entire premise because
I
I
love
realized
it.
I was not doing that for myself.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I can't be the only one, so I need to
No.
talk about this and, shed some light on it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you on
Thank
Saturday.
you for having me. Thank you. I'll see you
Alright.
soon.
Alright, bye.
Now that conversation was so good. Oh my gosh. Terry shares so much wisdom, but here's what really here's what I really want you to hold on to. Overthinking is often a signal, not a character flaw. Intuition gets really clear when you get calmer. You don't have to believe every thought you think, and coming back to yourself is not a one-time event. It requires a daily intentional practice. That's what really stayed with me because so many of us are hard on ourselves when we spiral, over process, or feel emotionally exhausted. But sometimes what we call overthinking is really anxiety, it's overwhelm, it's those old stories, and our nervous system doesn't feel safe. And when you understand that, you can meet yourself with more compassion instead of judgment. Terry also reminded us that intuition doesn't rise out of chaos. It rises out of the calm, out of the slowing down, out of creating enough space to actually hear yourself again. And that is such a powerful reminder for any woman who has been carrying too much for way too doggone long. And if this episode stirs something in you, I seriously hope you will consider attending the Awakening Return to Self Day Retreat on Saturday, April 25th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Terrie will be there offering pranic healing, and it is going to be a beautiful space to release what's heavy, reset your energy, and reconnect with yourself in a real and intentional way. I always like to end each episode with a grounding affirmation so that everything that you've heard and that you're taking away really, really settles within you. Here it is. I don't have to follow every fearful thought. I slow down, trust myself, and return to peace one breath at a time. If this episode blessed you, please subscribe and leave a review and share with a friend because, I'm trying to build a tribe of self care warriors because it is my belief that when you put yourself first, everything in your life changes. All right. Until next time, my fabulous friends, my self care warriors, love yourself, protect your peace, and hold your own damn purse. Now, this episode is brought to you by Self Care Shawty, your go-to for homemade skin products that keep you moisturized, healed, and at ease. Discover these amazing products today at selfcareshawty.etsy.com. That's selfcare shawty, SHAWTY.etsy.com.